This is the most powerful superhero Marvel has ever created. Stronger than Thor, stronger than a Hulk, and this is the monster that lives inside him. They are the same person. Every time he saves the world, the monster gets stronger. And the more powerful he becomes, the closer the world comes to ending. His name is Robert Reynolds, and his story is the most tragic in all of Marvel. So if he's this strong, why did you barely hear his name until Thunderbolts? The answer is one of the wildest stories comics have ever told. Let's get into it. Robert Reynolds wasn't a soldier or a scientist. He was a desperate young drug addict who broke into a laboratory looking for a fix. Instead, he found a vial of a secret experimental serum, and he drank the whole thing. That serum was the Golden Sentry serum, a formula said to be 100 times more powerful than the one that created Captain America. In an instant, a broken man became a god. If this sounds a little familiar, it should. The Sentry was Marvel's answer to Superman, a golden, caped, near unstoppable Boy Scout. But Marvel added one twist DC never dared to. They made their Superman mentally ill, and they gave his power a mind of its own. Here's what happens when you hand the godlike body to a deeply broken human being. His official power level? He carries, quote, the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. He can fly faster than light, rearrange molecules with a thought, heal almost any wound, and lift weight that would make the Hulk look weak. Writers have repeatedly called the Sentry the single most powerful being in the entire Marvel universe. There is almost nothing he cannot do. And that, it turns out, is exactly the problem. And it is not just brute strength. The Sentry can fly faster than light. He can take a living thing apart down to its atoms with a single thought. He has rebuilt his own body from almost nothing. At his absolute peak, writers have hinted he could reshape the world itself. The only force that has ever truly stopped the Sentry is the Sentry, because that god came with the shadow. For every ounce of light the Sentry creates, an equal and opposite darkness is born. They call it the Void. It is not a separate villain, it is him. The Void is the dark half of his own power and his own broken mind, an entity of pure destruction that grows stronger every single time the Sentry uses his abilities. The greatest hero on Earth is permanently chained to the greatest threat on Earth. So the Sentry made an impossible choice. To stop the Void, he had the smartest minds on Earth erase himself from existence. Every hero, every villain, every camera, and even his own mind, all of it wiped clean. For years, Robert Reynolds lived as a forgotten nobody, with no idea he had ever been a god. Because the only way to cage the monster was to make the world forget the hero. That is why for so long, almost no one knew his name. When he does fight, the results are horrifying. During the battle for Asgard, the Sentry grabbed the god of war Ares and tore him clean in half in front of an army. He once flew the symbiote Carnage into orbit and ripped him apart in the upper atmosphere. He traded blows with the Hulk at the peak of his rage and matched him. When the Sentry takes off the gloves, gods die. When the Hulk came back from space, angrier than he had ever been, an unstoppable force tearing New York apart, only one hero could stand in front of him, the Sentry. They smashed into each other with so much force, the shockwave was felt for miles. And they pounded each other until both of them reverted all the way back into ordinary men, lying exhausted in a crater. He is the only being who ever fought the World War Hulk to a standstill. But here's what makes the Sentry different from every other powerhouse. The Void isn't really about strength, it's about pain. Robert struggles with severe mental illness, depression, agoraphobia, a mind at war with itself. And the Void is that illness given a body, his darkness made real and given the power to level cities. The Sentry is what happens when a person's inner demons become literally strong enough to end the world, and the people closest to him paid the price. His wife Lindy loved Robert through all of it, the breakdowns, the fear, the darkness. But loving the Sentry is dangerous because the void does not care who it hurts. In the end, the most powerful man in the world could lift a mountain, yet he could not protect the person he loved most from the monster inside his own head. His tragedy was never losing a fight. It was losing control. In a mind that fragile is a weapon waiting to be aimed. The villain Norman Osborn figured that out. He befriended Robert, gained his trust, fed his instability, and pointed the most powerful being on the planet wherever he wanted. A confused, broken man with the power of 1,000,000 suns, controlled by one of the most dangerous men alive. It ended exactly as badly as you'd imagine. It all came to a head at the siege of Asgard. Manipulated, unstable, and finally pushed past his breaking point, Robert lost the war with himself. The void won. He became pure destruction and tore the home of the gods out of the sky. The heroes who once stood beside him realized there was only one option left. The most powerful being on Earth had to be put down. And it took a literal god, Thor himself, to do it. Except death has never been the end for the Sentry. He has been killed, erased, even incinerated, and still he comes back. Because his power is tied to something close to the sun itself, and you cannot switch off a star. Every time the world believes it is finally safe, the golden light returns. And so does the shadow that follows it. For decades, the Sentry was the comic world's best-kept secret. Then Thunderbolts brought him to the big screen, and suddenly millions of people met both the golden hero and the terrifying void for the very first time. Fans who'd never read a comic walked out, asking the same question you might be asking right now. How is this guy not the most famous hero in the world? And maybe that is the real reason the Sentry connects with so many people. Strip away the powers, and his story is brutally human. It is about depression, about a darkness that grows stronger the harder you fight it, about being terrified of your own mind. He is, strangely, the most relatable god in comics because his greatest enemy is the one that so many people quietly battle every single day: himself. So is the Sentry really the most powerful hero in Marvel? On raw power alone, the argument is strong. He has gone toe-to-toe with the Hulk, killed gods, and shrugged off attacks that would erase almost anyone else. But true power was never his problem. His problem was control. He is a king sitting on a throne of light, with a monster chained beneath it, praying every day that the chains hold, which leads to the debate fans will argue forever: Sentry or Superman? On paper, their powers are nearly identical: flight, super strength, near invincibility, energy drawn from the sun. But where Superman is hope, the Sentry is fear. Superman always holds back. The Sentry sometimes cannot. And in a no-holds-barred fight, an opponent who might lose control and go nuclear is a terrifying thing to stand against. And here is the saddest part of being that strong. The Sentry is afraid to step outside. A man who can cross galaxies suffers from agoraphobia, a fear of the world beyond his own front door. The most powerful being in the universe spends his days terrified, not of any villain, but of what he himself might do. That is the curse of the Sentry. Ultimate power and absolutely no peace. The Sentry is proof that the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't a villain. It's an unstable hero with unlimited power. So here's my question for you. In a straight fight, no holding back, who wins? The Sentry or the Hulk? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them all. And tell me which hero you want explained next. If you made it this far, subscribe to the Invincible Files, because we're just getting started.